Hello there, and welcome back to Vintage Story. I hope you're having a wonderful day. As you would have seen from that little montage preview, I don't know, I've started work down here in the cellar. I didn't know what I wanted to do with the cellar. Like, I knew I wanted to build one, but I didn't know how I wanted to design it. So I was looking at some images online, and I found this really nice French cellar. Now, granted, this is supposed to be, well, this is part of a Spanish villa, so a French wine cellar doesn't quite match it, but it's close enough, and I thought it looked really good that we could work with it. So that's what we're doing here. Of course, I installed these because I was thinking, you know, oh, well, I do want posts in here, make it look nice. And then I remembered, wait, I need to remove this floor, put in slabs. So this is going to have to be taller, and honestly, I don't know if I want to do slabs or I want to do stone. And, well, I don't have enough stone to arch it really, so yeah, I'm not sure. But I do need to replace all of this pack dirt with something. We're either going to use more of the aged logs, which I've gone out and collected some. I didn't want to collect too many because I do like the aesthetic that the aged logs lying around in the world look like, but I did pick up a few of them. And we're going to be, yeah, I'm going to have to test a few things. We're either going to have the claystone roof and maybe have it so that's kind of comes, you know, an arch here and an arch over here. Although they'd have to be very shallow arches because we only have this one layer of, but no, we would have two. Because this is all going to be flooring up here. So that's 2 layers up. Because my initial plan was, if I could figure out where my shovel is, was we're going to have, I gotta adjust this. I keep getting stuck on this one voxel. So the initial plan was this is going to be removed and have a, let's just do a slab for now. Like that. And then this layer here is going to be the floor. I do have more claystone, so like floor there. Let's make another slab. Right. And that way we come in. We walk onto this layer here. And then, you know, we go down into the basement. And then we've got this that sort of matches that. We're using the aged wood instead of the ebony because I haven't gone far enough south to find ebony. And I haven't gotten lucky enough to find ebony seeds in any hollows. And then, of course, all of our cook stuff will be built up on this. And at this level is where we would have our, say, windows. So we could look out. But if I do that, then I have to adjust these posts, which is not that hard, especially since I know where I'm building them. And I figured out how to get those sideway parts to actually meet up nicely. But this is a very large cellar and doesn't count as a cellar, so we're going to have to partition this room in half probably. So we have like this area here, which would be for open storage, like barrels or stuff that doesn't need to be not chilled, but kept at a cooler temperature. And then the second cellar, which will be beyond the door in here, which is where we'll keep all of our stuff that we want to keep preserved. I'm gonna have to sleep on it, figure out which way I really want to do this, because I can't go more than a half slab up. Right? If we do this, it still counts as being insulated. So up here would be insulated, especially if I put trapdoors down on the open way, on the entrance to the stairs. We'd be able to have this be counted as a separate room and this be counted as a separate room for insulation purposes. And that would give me essentially 2 blocks worth of block to chisel for any arches we want to do under here. Of course, that means I'd have to pick up this and replace that. But then again, this is going to be hidden. So that's not that big of a deal if I have to do it that way. You know what? I think I'll test the arches, see how they look. Because since I'm using chiseled blocks, if I don't like it, I can always grab our pantograph here, picture, and paste, and fix it. Oh, and Hive update. The skep is 3 days from swarming and 1 day from producing a comb. We do not want to break it when it produces a comb. Obviously, we need this to swarm to this one, so we can then put it in there. Oh, and a little trick, I don't know if you know this, but if you want to make fireplaces or fire pits, but you don't want to waste wood because you're going to be using, say, peat as a fuel source, you place down the grass, then you click on all 4 logs, then you can remove the logs and you can add peat or whatever other fuel source you want to use. That way you're not using up your limited supply of logs. So I spent the better part of the night chiseling, and we now have this arch, which looks much better than any other arch I've ever made. So we're going to be going with this. On that note, I will probably be fixing that arch to look more like the one I just made. But I want to show you something really cool about the chisel tool mods, which I've never actually used before because I keep forgetting about it. If we take a picture of this, we could then press P with our pantograph. Well, actually, I think we can... Yeah, we don't need to have anything selected. We just press P. But if we press P with the pantograph, it shows us the object we have. Or the object we just took a picture of. So I can rename this. I'll give it the 2x4 arch. And this was the model middle. All right, click save. We close out of that, open it again. We have it there, and then repeat the process once more. 2x4 arch top. So now we have these 3 shapes saved. So next time I want to make something, I should be able to just... Please look at chisel block first. Okay, so I can look at this one, click this, grab arch lower, and then paste, and it pastes it. And that way you don't have to run back and forth like, okay, take a picture of this one, run all the way over here, okay, paste that one, okay, now run back over here, grab this one, and yeah, no, you can save the arch or save the shape that you want to use, especially if it's something you're going to be using a lot. Arches, pillars, and then just pull them out of your portfolio. So that's really, really useful. So now we can go into this very dark room with all the mobs in it. Okay, he ran away, so I can't see him. Yeah, I'm in the process of making up lanterns to go down here, so I don't have to keep dealing with spawns every single time I want to come down here. I don't know why I did those middle ones. Those are completely unused. There is no point in placing them. Okay, so these are already pre-chiseled. So if I go into here, I want lower and nope. Lower and paste. Lower and paste. All right, and then I need to go back to this. I want to rotate. I need to put down the torch, put my hammer in my hand, and then rotate. There we go. Okay, awesome. We've got that block there that needs to be removed and replaced with one of these. Perfect. Okay, so then we go back into portfolio. We want to grab the middle. I did it again. All right, and rotate those, rotate those. Oh, that one's not chiseled. Can't chisel because it might collapse. Well, we can fix that. Nope. There we go. And now we can rotate these. And then back into here, grab the arch top, place that. And let's look at the arch. I think that's going to look very nice running down the entire length. And then we can do a smaller arch, just a 2x2 over here also. So we have this big arch and then a small arch. And yeah, run this all the way down the length of the building. Obviously, where we're going to have the room partitioned, which might be right here, we'll have to have the arch filled in to at least the halfway point so that it counts as insulated. That's the word. Had a brain fart there. And then that will be done. Oh, I am liking this. And of course, as I said, up here, because it is at least half a block thick, it's all insulated. Which means that when we put a door on here, this will be a room, this will be a room, that'll be a room. Everything will be its own separate room with doors installed. And that means that the temperatures will be regulated a bit better, and we won't have to worry about hypothermia during the winter in our kitchen. Of course, we'll be cooking, so that's not going to be that big of a deal anyway. And the other benefit is I don't have to change this much. I might have to see if I can adjust the supports so that they are half a block. Can I do that? I want to turn that into a stripped log and then one of those. And I want to try to place that there. Can I? I can. Awesome. Which means I can, if I can find it. You gotta find that little square in order to break the to break the support. Oh my gosh, I am really just brain not worky today. Which actually is an improvement over how I was doing a few days ago. Long story short, I got a migraine 2 days ago, and it took... No, I got a migraine on Tuesday, and it took until Friday for me to actually feel better. Yes. And then we can always put something down here. If we put a... Can I put a chisel block? I'd have to do 4. But can I? I can. Okay. Means I can chisel down another block and put it here and have it sort of be a support pillar. Be a stone support pillar to the wooden support pillar. I think you understand what I'm trying to get at. Alright, I'm going to show you another quick trick. I'm going through turning all of the clay stone into chiseled blocks so that they don't collapse on me. And if you look at some of them, this one has an instability of 100%. So we can't chisel it. It says too unstable, it might collapse. This one is 50% that we can chisel. So what I've been doing, and it's pretty much anything, as long as its instability is higher than, or sorry, lower than 100%, you can turn it into a chisel block. So there are a few here that I haven't chiseled yet. But for the most part, I've got almost all of them done. So what I've been doing to allow me to chisel them is this: dirt pillars in the basement. Let's actually find a block so I can show you exactly what it looks like. This one's 100% instability, so if we can't chisel that one. This one I've already chiseled. And let's grab my shovel quickly. Let's dig up that so we can see exactly where it is. It's right there. So we put that there, and that there. And of course, this only really works if you've got gravity blocks on, landslides, all that fun stuff. Now it's got an instability of 0. We can chisel it. So that's what I'm doing so that I can go around, turn every block here into a chisel block, so I can then go back down underneath and chisel our vaulted, arched cellar. And there we go. Now the floor is fully chiseled. I can go mine up some more chiseled clay stone and remove all this dirt and just do the chiseled roof throughout the cellar. And this is what it looks like so far. We've got these little arches here. Not sure if I'm going to stick with them or do something a little different, but you get the idea of what I wanted to go with. I forgot that there was another layer above them, so the arch is very shallow when I could have probably done it much more. I may still do that. Make this arch so that the bottom of that block is the top of the arch. So that'll be easy enough to change if I want to do that in the future. So this is what I was talking about. We're going to have this dividing wall. I am going to need to adjust these a little bit right on the corner so that they are enclosed, because I don't think this would count as a room if I... Well, first off, that doesn't count as closed, so that won't work. If I do this... Oh, it does. Huh. Okay, then I don't have to worry necessarily about making that line up for the... Mechanically. I'll do it for aesthetics, but mechanically it works, you know, perfectly fine as is. Okay, so then the next part we have to do is put down some dirt so I can get up here. And then I need to add blocks into here so the stone wall here continues up and divides this in half. What I might do, I just had this idea, is if I go make some glass, I can chisel glass in up here, so you almost have a window in at the top of the arch. I do kind of like that idea. So if we put that there, grab our pantoglyph. All right, and then we can do glass in there, and as long as it's two, no, it's not two. That's as long as it's 8 voxels thick, it should not affect whether this counts as a room or not. And then if I could find where that is, I can mess up my design a little bit. But there, that connects that part. And then I just need to connect these parts as well. Oh, right. I need to connect it from there. And then we'll have this nice partition between the two rooms, and that way I can have this as one storeroom for our actual food storage. This is where we'll have our vessels and our shelves and everything that we want to preserve for a long time. And then out here we can have our fruit press, our barrels of vinegar and pickling stuff, and that sort of idea. One other thought is I wanted to hang lights. You cannot hang lights from a non-full block. Or at least not from one of these. If I wanted to hang a light, I would have to find a middle block, and I did not make this room middle side, so I would have to, like... Would this work? That would not. We need to give that back. Find the middle, make it a bit smaller. How small can I make this and still keep it? Okay, so I would need a 2 by 2. Ooh, no, I can go smaller still. Okay, so we need a 4 by 4 voxel, so an area that big in the middle of a block in order to hang a lantern from it somewhere in here. Now, again, this is even, so there is no middle of the room from a block perspective to hang a light from. I would have to have it be off-centered. I was thinking it'd be nice to hang it from here, but that won't work unless I... Is that the center? That does work. And that is small enough that you don't really notice it. I think that's acceptable. Nice. So that means I do need to make another lantern to go in here. We are going to do some more posts coming down. I need to do what I did over here, over in these corners there. Of course, that's depending on if I even keep these and I don't change them up. But yes, that's looking nice. It's getting late again. Ooh, our bees might have swarmed. Yes. Nice. Okay. Then let's move some stuff. We're going to control and scroll over until we get to the open backpack slot there. Right click to pick it up. And then right click it into the ceramic hive. And now we have bees in there. We can take the pot off once it's full of honey, and it'll be very evident when it is because you will see a yellow film around it. And I think if I remove the honey pot, put that down, we can pick, again, scroll, there we go. We can pick this up, just like we did the skip by having an open backpack slot, and now we can have that off the ground. Nice. All right, then we'll do one more quick thing. And I need to go grab our beeswax that we squeezed the other day for the honey. I stored that right down there. And I'm going to need to craft up another barrel quickly, because I don't think I have an empty... Wait, I do have an empty barrel. Perfect. Okay, if we put the beeswax in there, we now have 5 beeswax in the barrel. If we break the barrel, we should get the beeswax pack. Yes. Okay, so put the beeswax in. Now if we go to our handbook, and look at hive panels, for every 1 beeswax, we can put 4 boards in to get hive panels. So we did 5 beeswax, we can put 20 boards in to get 20 hive panels. So let's grab, put our backpack back on, put that there so we can actually see. That's 12, right? 24? Yes. All right, so that's 24 boards. Let's put 4 of these down somewhere where I don't need them. We go over here, toss those in. We'll turn into 20 oak Langstroth hive panels after 2 days of sealing. So we're going to seal those and forget about them for 2 days. And should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. The ceramic hive, the panels I just made there, that is all from Golden Combs mod. If you're just playing vanilla or without from Golden Combs, the way you would make honey is, well, you produce skeps like this. You do kind of what I'm doing here, keep them off the ground, like I said, so raccoons don't break them on you. And this now has a comb in it. We could break this. It would break the hive, it would release the bees. The bees will not be necessarily happy about it, but we would get between 2 and 3 combs, I believe. But you'd have to create a new skep every time, and you'd want to make sure you have extra skeps so that your bees will swarm, go to a new skep. Okay, then you could break this skep, and you're obviously going to want to have a cycle going on 4 or 5 skeps at a time. Doing this, we don't need to make any more skeps unless we want to make another ceramic hive. Of course, we could always grab this one and put it in. I do not remember if they will swarm from a ceramic hive. So if you want to produce more skeps, you may need to make another one of these. But that's why I'm going to keep one around anyway, especially when I make the Langstroth hive. We've got a hive all set up and ready to go. Now, I mentioned I wasn't feeling good this week. I have no clue what was going on. I got a migraine on Tuesday, and I did not feel better till Friday. So I have not done much this week. So I'm going to call it an end here, so I can go have time to edit this and hopefully not get a migraine. That thankfully only seem to get a really bad migraine like once a year at most. I get like little migraines 4 or 5 times a year, but yeah, hopefully I'm good for the rest of the year. As is, I haven't been able to run in 2 weeks between the migraine, feeling unwell, and the weather being nasty. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope you liked the progress we're making. I'm between episodes. I'm going to finish the kitchen, finish the cellar, and actually start moving into that house. We're going to put multiple stories in. In fact, that upper section there is split up into 2 additional stories. So there's going to be 3 stories when this building is done. But yeah, so I hope you liked the cellar. I really liked these arches. This one came out really good. And I actually, before we go, let me just quickly show you this arch, the small arch. It is 8 deep here. It's of course 2 different blocks. It's 8 deep, so that it counts as insulated. And then it's 3 in, 2 in, 1, 1, 2, 3. And this is also 8 deep. For this one, likewise, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deep. And that is 8 deep. And then from the middle, 1, 2, 3, it's 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, and then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, so 6 1s, and then 2 2s, 2 3s, and then back to a 4. Yeah, so 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 6 1s, and then 2 2, 3 3, 4. And that gives it a rather nice arch. Okay, before I get attacked by mobs, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you to my channel members for your support. And I'll see you next time. Later.